everybody, and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host, as always, Ryan, and today I'm going to be joined by Matty.
Hey, guys.
So you might well recognise Matty's voice from some of our videos lately, especially if you've seen any of our WWE and NXT pay-per-view predictions videos, or those two WrestleMania fantasy booking videos. So what we are deciding to do today is another fancy booking video. We are going to be doing the rumoured Evolution 2 pay-per-view that is likely to be coming up for WWE in July. So what we're going to be doing for the first time is we're actually going to be doing it together and hopefully agreeing for the most part on what would be a solid second all-women's pay-per-view in WWE. So let me quickly run through just how this is going to work. So there will be 8 matches, and we each get one locked match, which the other cannot debate to try or even change. As soon as it's set and it's locked, that match will happen on the card. Each superstar can only be used once, current WWE superstars only, and you can use obviously NXT, Raw, or SmackDown. You can also use WWE Legends as long as they can still wrestle. The remaining 6 matches will then be pitched by us both, one at a time, and those can be debated, edited, challenged, or even just outright rejected. We legit don't know a single match that the other one has booked, so we need backups just in case the women have already been used. So Matty has the WWE Women's World Championship, and I have the WWE Women's Championship. These will definitely be used in our pay-per-view. All other titles are available to be used. They don't have to be, but you can use them. You know, the US, the IC, the tag, speed, if you really want for some strange reason. And you can have any match stipulations. So how are you feeling about this, Matty? Are you confident we can build a solid Evolution 2 pay-per-view between us?
I'm pretty sure we can. Let's do it.
I'm hoping that we can. At least there's 2 we don't have to agree on because we have our locked matches that can't be debated.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do then is I'm going to start straight away with my locked match, and it's going to be for the WWE Women's Championship, and it's going to be Ronda Rousey returning to face Rhea Ripley.
Oh, that takes out one of my matches.
So what are your thoughts on seeing Ronda return to WWE and taking on Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship?
Well, personally, wasn't really a fan much of her in WWE. So I maybe enjoyed maybe 1-2 of their matches. I didn't think she really sold enough. She was an all right. She had an all right moveset. It wasn't terrible, but she definitely just had like a one-time match, like star thing when it was the Kurt Angle, Ronda versus Triple H and Stephanie at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, it was such a good debut.
Yeah, it was. What WrestleMania was it? Was it 34?
I think it was 84. Yeah, when she come in.
Yeah. And it was a really good match. And then she faced off with Triple H in that match as well at one point, and that was the crowd obviously enjoyed that as well, and it was good. And then he went to Pedigree. I remember that.
See, my thought and thinking behind it basically is Rhea Ripley is probably one of the biggest stars that WWE have ever had in the women's division. I was watching the podcast with Buddy Matthews the other week, and obviously they're together, and he actually said in it that people come up and see Rhea and want to take pictures and videos and stuff with her. Based on TikTok, they don't know she's a wrestler. They see her TikTok videos and stuff, so like she's actually famous outside of WWE.
Yeah, I seen that as well. Was that on the Chris Van Vliet one?
Yeah, on the Chris Van Vliet podcast, yeah. So then I was trying to think of who else would match that star power. So the only other wrestler really that could match that star power of what Rhea is now is in fact Ronda Rousey.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, she is like she's the powerhouse of the place. She's the big scary one no one wants to face, I guess. Um, but she's also 100% better than Ronda Rousey.
She is, yeah, but I mean, I think Ronda could be a great heel for a good face Rhea Ripley.
The last heel run in the company until I like the whole like everyone wanted like I wanted her and Shayna to team up, and yeah, it was good. They only did it for like a little bit, and then they ended up splitting up, and
Yeah.
and then obviously it was a good match. It wasn't bad the match between them both, and she tapped her out. Well, she didn't tap her out. She put her to sleep, didn't she? And Shayna won, which was surprising because I didn't think that was going to happen.
And then they did nothing with Shayna.
Yeah, and then yeah, did nothing with Shayna, and that was really annoying.
To be honest with you, though, I feel like enough time since that has passed, and also don't forget that was booked under Vince McMahon. This is under Triple H, and everyone keeps saying the Triple H era is better than the Vince era. So Ronda Rousey under the Triple H era, and Triple H was the one who signed it originally. So it could be interesting to see this match. Which, just out of curiosity, then, this is a lock match, so it won't be changing. What was your match that it's taken out? I take it wasn't a Ronda Rousey match, no.
No, it was a Rhea Ripley match. So I originally had Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair in a number one contenders for the world title in a last woman standing match.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've seen the match before, but not in a last one standing.
And obviously Bianca Belair is also like a top big star in the women's division. Obviously there as well. She does a lot for the like charities and stuff like the Make a Wish and all that, doesn't she? And she's really big and like obviously she's been pushed multiple times. She's not exactly
Brilliant. I really rate her, but I just feel like the fans, for whatever reason, coming up to WrestleMania, didn't get behind her, did they at all?
yeah, no. But then again, she's facing Rhea Ripley, who's like and Io Sky, you know, two other top big and like Io Sky's really over at the moment again. I guess another person that's constantly over is Io. She's always a fan favorite. She wasn't even when she was a heel, like they still preferred liked her.
Because she's really good in the ring.
Yeah,
And I think they appreciate that. Like, even though there's not a great character behind it, she's really, really good in the ring. So what's your locked match then? Let's go to the second one. What's your locked? Have you gone for your women's championship or what match have you locked?
No, so
have you decided your locked match?
I have decided my locked match, but I don't know if I'm going to change it.
Right, okay. Well, you don't necessarily need to give me a locked match, but you do need to give me
it right now anyway. But
tell me later then when it is, so when I write it down and know I can't change your mind.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna start it off with a women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So,
Money in the Bank.
Yeah. So we're gonna say
write down who you're gonna have.
We're gonna say we're gonna say it because it's fantasy. That year there's not gonna be a women's Money in the Bank at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. There's just gonna be.
I don't think we should have a Money in the Bank pay-per-view anymore anyway.
Well, no, should be at WrestleMania, just like they used to do, definitely. But yeah, so it's got Chelsea Green versus Sol Ruka from NXT versus Kairi Sane versus Jade Cargill versus Naomi versus Piper Niven versus Nia Jax.
I missed half of that, so hang on. Just so I can have it in front of me so that I can turn around and tell you why I don't want to do it. No, I'm joking. So I've got Chelsea Green, Sol Ruka, Kairi Sane, Piper Niven, Nia Jackson. Who else?
Jade Cargill and Naomi.
Right, okay. Jade and Naomi. Okay, let me see in this then. I have nothing for Chelsea, nothing for Sol Ruka. I do have something for Kairi Sane, and I do have something for Jade Cargill. They're the only ones I've got something for. So this isn't your lock match, is it? So
no, it's not.
So we can mess around with this one a bit then. So, see the issue I have with this is obviously number one. I have two people that are in the match that I've got matches for. But also, I booked a women's TLC tag team championship match. So you're not going to run two ladder matches on the same pay per view.
No, but is a women's TLC tag team match going to be? What was your teams in it?
So what I'll do is I'll tell you now. So obviously, like I said, I had something for Kairi Sane. So she was part of the Kabuki Warriors, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, with Oscar, yeah.
With Oscar, yeah. So I've got obviously the Kabuki Warriors because I quite like them as a team.
Yeah.
Liv and Raquel because they're tag champs right now. Lita and Trish, team
Okay.
bestie. They've never held the tag belts together. And the Bella Twins, because I know a lot of people don't like the Bella Twins, but they were women's tag team before women tag team even had a title or a reason to be there. I feel like at one stage in their careers, they need to hold the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships.
So the only thing is, you can't do that match because it's one of your superstars is one of my locked matches.
Right, okay.
Well, it was my locked match, sorry, should I say?
Right, okay. Well, I tell you then, if we can't do the women's TLC and we're gonna do the
Well,
Money in the
you could
Bank,
still do a PLC. Maybe you could just change people, or you could
see,
drop.
so well, we need to decide first if we're gonna do a TLC Women's Tag Team Championship or we're gonna go for the Money in the Bank ladder match. We're not gonna obviously run two ladder matches on the same pay per view.
I don't mind the TLC, but I think
Who
if
can we
so,
not
the only
use?
thing is you can't put Oscar in it because I've got my women's world main event, and that's my locked match, and it's Io Sky versus Oscar for the world title.
Okay, so Asuka was only actually used in this or my backup match, which I don't now need, because I was scared you were going to take Rhea, but I got my lock match first. So you just said then your lock match is going to be which, and I'll throw that in now. So your locked is
Io Sky versus Oscar for the world title. I feel like we're discussing these now. We're just changing them. We need to go back to actually discussing what we were originally
yeah.
talking
So
about.
what we'll do now is so obviously Io Sky and Oscar are now completely off the table. Is it just a normal standard match, or like mine's just going to be a normal standard match?
Yeah, mine's just a normal standard.
Okay. Okay. So,
I mean, to
well,
be fair, I was debating a submission match, but I haven't really seen many submissions from Io as much.
right. Okay. Yeah. Well, we can revisit another stipulation if need be.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
no, all about it.
right. So, okay. So, if we go for the TLC over the Money in the Bank,
I think you should
obviously,
put Chelsea Green in that, to be fair, I reckon because obviously she can take some pointers from Matt, obviously her husband, and then he's obviously like really good in death matches and stuff, so he can help her with like certain spots and stuff like that. Maybe she'd be
so
in.
would it be Chelsea Green and Piper Niven? Are they still a team?
Yeah, yeah. They're called the Shivas or something. What is it? Oh, I can't think. It's like the special service, but for like it's the special service or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay, so obviously the Kabuki Warriors are out unless oh no we can't. I was going to say unless we change it to Kairi Sane, but sorry Io Sky, but you've already taken it anyway. So I'll take Kabuki Warriors out completely. So what we go with Bella's versus Lita and Trish versus Liv and Raquel versus Chelsea and Piper for the women's tag team titles in the TLC match.
Yeah, I'm all good for that.
Are we happy with that? So that can go in now as match number 3. And obviously, we'll sort the order out in a moment, but I'll just pencil this in. TLC match. So, um, have, has that taken any of your other matches off then? Did any of
Um,
these others?
oh, yeah, it has.
So what did you have?
So I had Lita versus Trish in the last time ever.
Oh, okay, yes. I'm to be honest with you, I'm not really that bothered that I missed that off because I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
even I didn't even bother to watch. Orton versus Cena for the last time ever, and I thought I'd actually be into that.
Well, yeah,
But
I just more thought because, like, obviously, at the like WWE loves to do a last time ever. Like, oh well, did you say it's last time ever? But there's, Undertaker versus Triple H at Saudi.
oh man,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
let's not go there. That never happened.
let's not talk about that. The X versus the Brothers.
Oh, shocking! But everyone was injured, and everyone seemed to be bald. Shawn Michaels. Right, okay, so we've completely scrapped your Money in the Bank match, and we've gone with the TLC instead, but we've added people, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to hit you with another match then that I have, and see how this grabs you.
Oh,
Um,
actually, I've just remembered. You've also took another one of my matches. I forgot about
why? What else have I took out?
that. Liv and Raquel versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki for the women's tag titles in a tables match. That's what I have.
Okay. Actually, I have an Alexa Bliss match, so let me run the Alexa Bliss match by you. I haven't got Nikki Cross, because to be honest with you, I did forget about Nikki Cross because she's been off TV for that long.
Well,
But I've actually got Zarya from NXT versus Alexa Bliss.
I feel like my match might be a little bit better.
I mean, we could always add in Nikki
Yeah.
Cross and Alexa Bliss into the TLC tag team match if you wanted. You could have
No,
five
no,
teams. There's no reason you can't.
no. I mean, not that. I wasn't talking about the Liv and Raquel versus Alexa and Nikki. I was talking about a different match, but because the one that Zari is in. But it's all right. We'll talk about that in a bit.
So we're not doing Zarya versus Alexa Bliss then. So
You
are
can
we
do it if you
using?
want,
Are
but
we
like,
using?
well, I think we could discuss it first. Like, why have you paired Alexa with Zarya? What
Um,
knowledge of that?
to be honest with you, I just wanted to do some like new generation versus old generation, and I'm not a fan. I know everyone else is. I'm not a fan of Alexa Bliss doing the spooky Bray Wyatt Sister Abigail thing. I don't like it. I never have done. I prefer her as the fallen goddess that she used to be when she first come up from the main roster. I feel like
Yeah.
she was in a great run. She was the first to hold both SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships. Considering she started in NXT as basically a manager, she didn't have many matches in NXT. She wasn't the NXT Women's Champion before she come up, and then all of a sudden she became like the top girl, and then she went
Yeah,
from each show. I think is she a five-time WWE Women's Champion, something like that.
something like that, maybe.
And
Yeah.
it was in the space of about 2 years, and it was about 4 or 5 years ago. She's not done anything since. She needs a good match to get it back on the map. And Zarya, I like Zarya. I think she's good. I was disappointed she didn't win the ladder match and didn't win the Women's North American Championship. But I feel like this is a way for her to establish herself, possibly on the main roster going forward. I don't think that every woman that they brought into NXT, like them four women that they brought in, obviously they can, like we've talked about it before, me and you personally, they could be the next four horsewomen in WWE. Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Jordan Grace, and Zarya. I don't feel like each and every one of them needs to win the NXT Women's Championship before they come up. But again, it's not necessarily that she comes up. She could literally have this match, lose to Alexa Bliss, which is, let's face it, it's not like you're just losing to someone for no reason. She's a star, Alexa, so
Yeah.
that wouldn't hurt Zarya, and then she could go back to NXT. I just wanted to try and mesh up some new school and old school, and I want Alexa Bliss personally. I want Alexa Bliss back as the fallen goddess.
Well, I also have a new school versus old school match. If you want
Okay,
me to this by you, if you want to do that.
go on.
So I have Roxanne Perez versus Natalia in a steel cage submission match for the US
That's
Women's title.
insane. And I have Roxanne Perez versus Elena Vega for the women's US title. But I like your idea better. And you know what? Considering Natalia is literally like my favorite women's wrestler, I didn't book her in a single match.
Yeah, I thought Natalia versus not Roxanne Perez. It doesn't have to be a submission match. I just thought I'm not a really big fan of escaping cages. I'm not a fan of pinfalls in cages though either. But I feel like, to be fair, like escaping through the door Yeah, I don't mind those. I feel like climbing over the cage sometimes is just, I don't know, with the whole eccentric. Oh, I'm gonna hold you, and then I'm just gonna drop you.
Yeah, it's like with a ladder match, isn't it? It's when they climb too early and then they've got to keep pushing the title away. And it's like,
Yeah,
I'm not supposed to win this. It's the same with that,
yeah.
isn't it?
Or they
It's,
stand like in the on the middle fucking ramp where they can't grab the title, and they're just like, ugh.
I don't watch a hell of a lot of Roxanne Perez, I'll be honest. What's her submissions like? Is she a submission style wrestler?
She's got a few. One of her finishes is the crossface.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and obviously then Natalia's at the sharpshooter. Um, but I feel like it'd be a good match, especially with the cage surrounding them as well. It'd be like a nice little show for them.
I tell you what,
And
I'll concede Zelina Vega versus Roxanne Perez for your steel cage submission match if we can use Indie Natalia. What she's doing now in GCW and NWA with the promos.
yeah,
What she called herself?
Natty.
Yeah, it's Natty, but she gave herself a nickname. What was it? It's not like, is it Living Legend or something? I can't remember what she's classing herself as now, like as a nickname, and it's so good. Like them promo videos she's been doing lately have been great.
Oh, mate, they're brilliant. Like she needs to bring that character side over to the WWE as well and use it and actually, have her pushed on the bloody. She doesn't have obviously a lot of years left in her, so
No,
use her whilst you can.
exactly. Yeah, I'm more than happy. I feel like a steel cage submission match. I don't think WWE have ever done one before.
I think so. Not a submission only ones. Obviously, they will do submission ones because obviously they are used to doing pinfall ones as well as on top of escape the cage. So they do pinfall and submissions. You just not a submission only. Um, and obviously gives it that little edge that they can't escape or out the ring or anything or grab onto ropes to help them because it's going to be no DQ, isn't it? Because it's a steel cage.
Yeah, I agree, and that takes out my Selena Vega versus Roxanne Perez for the women's US title. So we have 4 matches that we've agreed on so far. Obviously, we want to get to 8. We've got 4 left to go. I feel like we still need to decide what we're doing with Alexa Bliss. Because we started to talk about that. Obviously, you didn't want to use it in the tag team, but you don't really want to use it in the Zarya either. Do we just circle back to Alexa Bliss at another time and move on to something else and see where we get on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for now, but I've also got Bianca Belair free at the moment as well. If you haven't got her in anything,
I've got Bianca Belair. So my idea was literally to replace Sasha Banks with Bianca Belair and have Bailey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair in a #1 contendership match. I felt 4-way.
um,
Probably the biggest stars left in the company, really, that are from that era, if you like.
so you've already used the Bella Twins, haven't you, in that TLC match, didn't you?
Hmm.
Yeah, so that was another match that I forgot. So that I had the Bella Twins versus Bailey and Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, originally I was debating whether to have, instead of Trish and Lita, having Becky and Charlotte team, because we haven't seen them teaming. They're both heels right now. But I decided to go for Bailey versus Becky versus Charlotte versus Bianca, because basically I feel like all 4 of them women should be used in some way on the pay-per-view, but I don't necessarily think any of the 4 need to be in a world championship match. So a #1 contenders match, yeah. I don't necessarily think that he should be fighting for the mid card title either.
Right. Okay.
So what's your thoughts on that? The fatal 4-way.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can pencil that one in then, and we have our match number 5 for the #1 contendership. So where do you want to look next? What are you going to pitch me next?
So I was gonna do the fatal four way.
And what fatal
With the
four-way is
four
that,
horsewomen.
Matthew?
But I'm not gonna do that now. I am gonna do um
Oh, I've just realised. Sorry, 1 second. I've just realised you've used EO Sky, and that knocked out one of my matches.
knocked out
I
what?
had I had Julia versus EO Sky. I feel like they're in such a good match.
I know, but EO versus Asuka hasn't happened, and I
As it
want to see
not, I just thought
that.
it.
No, I
Wow.
don't think. I'm pretty sure it hasn't anyway. But that, well, it hasn't happened in WWE. I think it's happened in New Japan, I think, and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure it hasn't happened in WWE. Not a one-on-one anyway.
I
Uh,
don't actually have the Julia match then because that took that out.
it's all
I
good
didn't.
because the match I'm gonna say now. Don't worry about it. I've got it.
Go
it
on.
I'm gonna run back Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer. I want a good match on the roster. Like their
I
first
have
one.
a Stephanie Vaquer match. Like, I know we want to see Julia versus Stephanie, and I feel like that's going to happen multiple times going forward. I feel like that's going to be our new Charlotte versus Sasha. But what about Stephanie Vaquer in the NXT Women's Championship match against the legend Mickey James?
Uh,
A
well,
match we've not seen.
I don't think I want to see Stephanie versus Mickey James.
See, you haven't seen Mickey James's TNA Last Outlaw run, have you? The last rodeo run.
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen some of their TNA matches though.
Yeah, but the last rodeo that she did, where she was the TNA Women's Champion and she was facing the likes of Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace. Oh my God, them matches, like some of the best matches of her career.
Yeah. I think I saw one of the ones with Jordan Grace.
Yeah, they done like hardcore matches and all sorts of stuff. It was so good.
Yeah. Seen a few hardcore matches with Jordan Grace, and she's that one with Matt Cardona and
The digital media one where he like hit her with a dream cast and stuff. That is that. Do you know what? I've got an NX. I've got a TNA Jordan Grace top 5 video brewing, and I am going to do it at some point. Excuse me. I've already done the decal. And I feel like that match might just make it into my top 5. I love that match. When you say Digital Media Championship, that's exactly what you'd expect. Someone to get hit with a Dreamcast. It's too bad.
Oh yeah.
So are you sticking? Are you sticking then? You're not budging. You don't want to see Stephanie versus Mickey James. Are we
I
going to
don't.
go?
I don't want to see her versus Mickey James, but maybe we could compromise and use her somewhere else, maybe against someone else. Because we've also got Jordan Grace free, and I wouldn't mind seeing Stephanie versus Jordan
See,
Grace.
I've got a Jordan Grace match. Now, I don't like this woman necessarily, but I feel like a lot of people want to watch Jordan Grace versus Jade Cargill. That's just muscle madness.
I mean, I guess so, but are you
Jade,
talking like Jay
not a good
Cargill
record.
now? Or are you talking about Jay Cargill like 20 years advanced into the future?
She's not a great wrestler, is she? But I feel like people want to watch that in WWE. There is some people that think Jade is a good wrestler for some reason. I'm not sure why. But
She's not the worst. Like I've seen a hell of a lot worse. I mean, she's
agreed.
better than Ronda Rousey.
I mean, no, she's definitely not. She's definitely not.
Better
She's,
than Stellan.
she's definitely not. See, the one Jordan Grace match I did want to see, which I didn't write down, which I've shocked myself over. I was trying to think of what fans would want to see, is Jordan Grace versus Natalia. They've both said they both wanted that match, and I'm surprised that it hasn't happened yet. I feel like it has to happen at some point. Right, okay, so if we're going, are we not doing Zarya versus Alexa Bliss then? No.
Wait, what? Zarya versus Alexa Bliss. Well,
Yeah.
if we're not doing Zarya versus Alexa Bliss, I'll take Zarya versus Steph.
So,
I
I mean,
thought you took Zarya.
I now haven't got Julia in a match, and if we don't do Jordan Grace versus Jay Cargill, I haven't got Jay Cargill. Do we just run the women's fatal four-way?
No, because I feel like that I don't know. Like I feel like we could have two better matches between these four women if we picked them. I think Stephanie versus Zarya would be good, and I think Jordan versus Julia would be great too. I think they're the two. I think they're the two matches.
Jordan versus Julia's just happened, doesn't it?
Oh
Literally
shit!
last week. Literally
Oh
last week,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
number one
Okay, well
contendership,
we'll
wasn't
do
it?
Zarya versus Jordan. That's muscle on muscle, and then Steph versus Julia again for two.
Okay, we have two stipulation matches. Do we run one last stipulation match in the Julia versus Stephanie because we've seen it before, or do we just leave it alone?
I wouldn't mind doing a stipulation, but maybe like an Iron Woman match has to
Should
be
we
really. Yeah.
should we go for Zarya versus Jordan Grace in a normal standard muscle madness match? Meat on
What
meat,
was the Wade
just
Barrett call them? Big meaty men.
yeah, big meaty men slapping meat. And then we go for Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's NXT Championship
Yeah, might as well.
versus Julia in a what? Iron Woman.
Iron Woman's match. Yeah, I
30
think
minutes.
the original one I had was Stephanie versus Julia versus Grace versus Zarya for the women's IC title. That's what I had originally.
So we're having the Iron Man match is going to be 30 minutes because obviously we've got eight matches on this card.
And yeah, it's gonna have to be. I've got
Okay.
to be a 60 woman one kind of 60
So
woman.
we have one last match to run.
What's your last match?
Well, that's taken out. That's taken out. That's taken out. That's taken out.
That was what I was doing a second ago. Like you took out all
My backup match is because I do want to see Mickey James on this card. She's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's Zelina Vega versus Mickey James for. We're using the US title, unless we change Natalia and Roxanne to the IC and have Zelina Vega versus Mickey James for the US.
Do you want to make it a triple threat and add Sol Ruka in? Or Bianca Belair?
We've got Bianca. Bianca's booked.
Okay. Or actually, I've got Sol Ruka or Nia Jax lying around.
I
I think
have Alexa Bliss is still not used.
Make it a fatal forward. Use
We've
Alexa.
got a fatal four-way on the card. We don't want to book two.
Make it a battle royal and add some more people.
A Mae Young battle royal. It's so hard because like you don't want to overbook, but
No,
like I mean,
no.
how WE do it with 4 to 5 matches per pay-per-view, and we can't book 8 because we're tired of leaving so many people off. It's ridiculous to me. It's no wonder Tony Khan books 15 matches, 10 on a pre-show. And he still has people sitting at home. Okay, so we have Alexa Bliss, we have Mickey James, we have Zelina Vega, we have Nia Jax.
I don't need to have Sol Ruka. I'm not too bothered. I just feel like
Sol Ruka.
I feel like Nia Jax needs to be used more because she's the only big woman on the card. She
Unless
would.
we do Zarya versus Jordan Grace versus Nia Jax.
Jesus Christ, that'd be fucking. Nah, I don't need Nia Jax involved in any of that in that match whatsoever.
To be honest, I don't feel like I need Nia Jax involved in the pay-per-view at all, if I'm being honest.
No, not really, but she has the something that not many of the women have. She has the giant gimmick. She's the bigger person on the women's roster. So and sometimes it does work. Like she's not a great wrestler, but she's it's not like she's never had any good matches because she has had.
Do we want to? Do we want to see? Put it this way: do we want to see Nia Jax versus Mickey James? No. Do we want to see Nia Jax versus Lena Vega? No. Do we want to see Nia Jax versus Sol Ruka? No. Do we want to see Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss? No. I'm going to say we don't want to see Nia Jax.
Okay, let's just keep Nia Jax off the card then.
So I feel like we either run Zelina Vega versus Mickey James for one of the mid titles, or we run Zelina Vega versus Mickey James versus Alexa Bliss for one of the mid titles.
I think
Or we
Zelina
do
Vega versus Mickey James versus Alexa Bliss, so the triple threat match for the US women's title, I think would be good.
Okay, so we'll change the Natalia Roxanne for the IC then.
Oh shit, yeah, can do.
Yeah, because to be honest, yeah, I'd run that anyway. Because wasn't Bret Hart the IC champ? I feel like that gives it a bit of. We're going to ignore Bret Hart being the US champ in 2010. We're ignoring that. That didn't happen. He could barely walk. He could barely walk. If we're going to discount
the sharp piece he did on the Miz, it was bloody terrible. And he's like,
I love Miz. Miz can sell better than anyone. That was horrific. That was so bad. Honest to God. Right, so we're going to go Zelina Vega versus Alexa Bliss versus Mickey James for the US. Right, okay. And then I'll tell you what, I'll read it how I have it written down, and we'll see if that's the order we just want to run it in, because we now have our 8 matches for the pay-per-view.
Well, we need to discuss which is the main event though. Between mine and
yours. So we'll run with how I've got it written. I'll go from bottom to top, and then we'll decide. So we have Zelina Vega versus Alexa Bliss versus Mickey James for the Women's United States Championship. Then we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia for the NXT Women's Championship in a 30-minute Iron Woman match. And we have Zarya versus Jordan Grace. Then we go to Bayley versus Becky versus Charlotte versus Bianca in a number 1 contenders match. That can even be a pick your poison match, so they could win the number 1 contenders and they could choose which title that they would rather go for.
I like that idea.
Natalia versus Roxanne Perez in a steel cage submission match for the IC Championship. TLC Women's Tag Team Championship match is Bellas versus Trish and Lita versus Liv and Raquel versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And we have the Io Sky versus Asuka World Championship locked match. And we have the Ronda Rousey versus Rhea Ripley in the WWE Women's Championship lock match. So where do we start and where do we end it?
So
I like the run of it, although I wouldn't have the steel cage and the TLC next to each other. I'd probably have one of them to open the show.
I feel like the cage needs to open and TLC needs to be like the 3rd last match or the 2nd to last match.
So the first match would be the cage. So we'll go cage match.
Start off with as well. I'd enjoy that as a first match as an opener.
Okay, so we wouldn't necessarily then go to another title or another stipulation match after that. So what if we went with Zarya Jordan Grace in the muscle match straight after?
Do we have any tag matches?
Yeah, the TLC tag titles
No,
match.
just a normal tag match.
No, because we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 tag teams in the title.
I guess so. Yeah. So we've got Roxanne Perez and Natalia. Then you want to go Jordan Grace versus Zarya.
Yeah, because like the others are either for titles or in gimmick matches, unless you want to run the triple threat afterwards, which is Vega, Bliss, James for the US.
What about the Fatal 4-Way? For the 4 horsemen.
1 contenders.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of star power.
Is it like a contract where they can, like a Money in the Bank, like when they win the match, they can cash it in whenever they want or something?
I'd just say pick your poison match where you just say like which one you want to, like a Royal Rumble. If you win the Royal Rumble, you get to pick which title you go after. Just do it like that.
I was just thinking because then they can come out at the end of the night and fucking
ruin the whole pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No one wants to see any one of them cashing in at the end of the night.
Uh,
Yeah, we'll go with number one then next. Number one contenders, that's fine. Then where do you go from there though?
then we'll do Jordan Grace versus Aria.
Sorry, Grace. Okay, and then we need to decide where we put the Iron Woman match and the TLC. They're both stipulation matches, and then
I'd say,
we've got two world title matches. Are we going back to back with the world title?
I feel like one of the world titles needs to be now. I feel like it should go world title, then TLC, then um the Iron Woman match, and then the other world title.
So you're going to put the NXT Women's Championship just before one of the world titles?
Yeah.
The only
I
problem
feel
I
like it's
have,
because, and the only reason I'm doing that is because TLC is going to be messy. Obviously, there's going to be tables destroyed. So an 30 woman Iron Woman match gives it time for the clean up and stuff like that for like whatever the main event is.
yeah, I get that, but I just feel like I know obviously these are all matches we set it and that. I feel like Stephanie versus Julia in an Iron Woman's match, if they're actually given, proper direction, not like that 6-7 minute match they had the other week. I
Yeah.
feel like that's gonna outshine both of our world title matches. So do you want to put it just before a world title match? I'd put it next.
You want to do back to back world titles? Or
No,
you
I'd
want
I'd,
to
I'd go for the NXT women's now, and then I'd go for the US. I wouldn't put the NXT Women's Championship by either one of the World Championship matches for the simple fact is it's gonna outshine them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, go on.
So we go NXT I'm Woman next. Then we'll go for the triple threat US. Then are we gonna go? I reckon we go world title, TLC world title. So you're breaking it up. So we've got to decide. So TLC's match 7. So we need to decide which out of Io Sky versus Oscar and Ronda versus Rhea main events. Now, obviously, we're both going to want our own. So I feel like it's a pitching time. So you pitch why you think that Io versus Oscar is better than Ronda versus Rhea.
I mean, right. Well, for one, nothing against Rhea, but they are both better wrestlers on her. Oscar is almost 50, and she wrestles like she's 18 years bloody old. She doesn't slow down whatsoever. She's one of the best female wrestlers, and she's frequently always been the best, one of the best. I've never really seen any lacking from her whatsoever. And then they haven't had this match in WWE from what I can remember. And it is a match I would really like to see. They are two of the best women, as I'd say, and I think they'd have an absolute banger of a match compared to Ronda versus Rhea, which would go on for maybe 10 minutes less, something like that. And I think it would be Ronda's sloppy. So it's just going to be, I think, full of mad botches, and I'd rather forget about them than be the last remaining memory of the pay-per-view.
Okay, apart from the sloppy botch in this situation, everything else you said, I 100% agree with. Oscar and Io Sky are better in-ring wrestlers than Ronda Rousey and Rhea Ripley, 100%. They would have a better match. There's no arguments there, but this is WWE.
Exactly.
This is not AEW. This is not New Japan. They don't put their best match last. They put their biggest stars last. You're not getting bigger stars than Ronda versus Rhea. And I feel like if you run Ronda versus Rhea at match number 6, a lot of people are then turning the pay-per-view over.
Yeah, I know.
Star power. It's like John Cena, Randy Orton. Is it going to be the best match of the night? Absolutely not. Where are you going to run it? You have to run it in the main event.
Yeah.
You could literally have Pentagon Jr. versus Ray Fenix. be the greatest match on the pay-per-view, and then you could end it on John Cena versus Randy Orton, and it's gonna main event because of star power, and there's no bigger match on the card than Ronda Rousey versus Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. No, I get it. I completely get it.
That's my thing. Like WE, that's how they're gonna do it. If it's AEW, they're gonna book the best potential match is the main event, or if not, at least the world title. And obviously, we've got two world titles in this situation. So you're gonna go with the biggest stars for WWE. So EO versus Oscar. So we have, this is our fancy booked pay-per-view for Evolution number 2. So we'll start with the steel cage submission match, between Natalya and Roxanne Perez for the Intercontinental Women's Championship. We then move on to the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match, where the winner can pick which championship they want to go for, in Bayley versus Becky versus Charlotte versus Bianca, with 4 of the biggest names in the company. We then move to number 3, which is a Muscle Madness match between Zarya and Jordynne Grace. We then go on to another pairing of NXT stars, and we have the NXT Women's Championship in an Iron Woman 30-minute match between Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. We then move on to the 3-way United States Championship match of Zelina Vega versus Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James. And then we have the World Heavyweight Championship match of Io Sky versus Asuka. We then go to the TLC Women's Tag Team Championship match of the Bellas versus Trish and Lita versus Liv and Raquel versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. And we will end it with Ronda Rousey returning to take on Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. So that is a solid 8 matches. So let us know, obviously, your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Do you agree with our picks? Do you think we're talking out of our asses? Do you agree with Matty? Do you think Io and Oscar should go above Ronda and Rhea? Or do you believe that, as I said, with WWE, it's all about who's the bigger name and the stars go last? So let us know, obviously, your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Wrestling Group today. Thanks, guys.